What's going on, everyone? Austin John Plays here, and today I'm going to be going over your space-time distortions not spawning. In my pre-release playthrough, I had an extended period of time that I didn't get any space-time distortions spawning whatsoever, and I started to wonder what exactly was going on and why that was. And then, as I played through the game more, I'm now about 250-ish hours in between my 3 playthroughs. I've made some observations, I've done some testing, I've gotten a few shinies from it, and I have some interesting information for you. I know you're fairly used to me on this screen when I talk about my game, but since I'm playing 3 of them right now, we're gonna be looking at this. Because this is what I've been looking at for about 12 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and mute all the switches right now because it's mostly just wind noise, because when you're just waiting here and you have the music off, it's just wind and rain and things like that. So I have come up with what I thought was the best way to spawn space-time distortions, which I mentioned in my video less than a week after launch. And basically what it comes down to, we're in the bottom right, basically what it comes down to is you go to camp and you do nothing, okay? You go to camp, you do nothing. And then I tested it with this switch. Every time that I did a space-time distortion, I would then sleep and then I would just wait at camp. This switch, what I decided to do was I would just play through, and every time that I did a space-time distortion, I would zone back to Jubilife and I would come back here. And my findings were that these two, the top left one and the bottom left one, were much slower than this one. All this one did, as soon as the space-time was over, I fast traveled back to camp and I waited there and I did nothing. With not fast traveling back to camp or sleeping or being in my menus or doing anything else, I was actually able to achieve, on average, 13 to 15 minutes of just playtime. I did have one time that I took 30 minutes, except I also went back to Jubilife. I got more supplies for more jet balls because I was running a little low, and now I boosted it back up to 500 because I like to have a ridiculous amount of jet balls, as you can see by all 3 of the playthroughs. This one was the fastest. Also, if you notice this little white area right here, this is so that anytime a space-time distortion shows up, it's gonna say it in white text right below my face. I normally pan these downward, that way it's just mostly darkness, right? And then, I don't exactly know where the information came from, but on Cerebi, they listed some information here. And before I even read it, I wanted to share with you what I thought was happening here. In Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, what they did is they took the map and they separated it into grids. 10 wide, 8 tall, 80 in total. And if you're not in that grid, it would every second do a 1% chance to respawn things like boxes, treasure, things like that. Things that do respawn, not enemies and such. And in this game, for Pokemon to respawn, it happens 4 times every in-game day at the beginning of the day cycle. Alphas, I think, take like 2 in-game days. And my theory for space-time distortions was, for every second or every minute that you're here, there's gonna be like a 1 to 5% chance that it can spawn. That was my theory going into this. And then Cerebi posted some information, and I don't know what this scene is, but it's not right. And they posted some new findings that I don't know who they're by. It says, there's no way to force a space-time. We knew that. It was theorized that the more Pokedex that you have complete, the more often they're going to spawn. But now, we have some concrete information. Every 5 minutes that you are inside of an area, there's going to be a check for a chance for a space-time to spawn. Resetting the state of the area by skipping to a later time will reset this. So that second switch that was sleeping until morning after every space-time, the reason it was delayed is because I was resetting this clock. This one that went to Jubilife, I'm resetting the clock as well. Battling a Pokemon or being in a menu will pause the timer. That makes sense because, as I've always talked about, you have what I call world time. World time is time that you actually see the moon and the sun move in the sky. You know that the day is progressing through the 7-ish, 8-ish minute day-night cycle, right? This one, that was doing absolutely nothing except for just being there, had the most consistent results. Now, some more information for that. That means that if you're going to be running around through an area, sleeping all the time, zoning back to Jubilife, going into battles with Pokemon, organizing your inventory, all the stuff that you would normally do, you're delaying them spawning, or you're removing the chance that they could spawn by rezoning. Instead, you just stand around and do nothing. If you say, I've been running around for 2 hours doing nothing but catching Pokemon, you were probably going through a lot of menus and doing some in-game battles. And because of that, you're delaying your chance of spawning Pokemon. Now we have some actual numbers, and this is interesting, that if you're in the area for 5 minutes, there's a 10% chance that it's going to be spawning. If you're in the post-game, it's 20%. Strangely, if you're in the area for 10 minutes, there's a 20% chance, and in post-game, 10%. I don't understand that. 15 minutes creates a 20% chance, and 20% chance in post-game. And then at 25 minutes, also 25%. 40 minutes, also 25%. I don't exactly understand these numbers or why they are the way they are, but the fact that, let's look at a small sample size. I had one start to spawn in at 11:33. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, on average 4 minutes, from the time that it says is forming to does form. And then from the time that it finished at 11:40, I battled no one. Instead, everything was overworld catches. From the time that it finished at 11:40, I had another one notify that it was going to be spawning in at 11:50. That means that from the time one ended to the time the next one showed up was exactly 10 minutes. So I hit that maybe 20% and then also 10%. I don't know that specifically. As opposed to the ones that were sleeping, I had really weird and inconsistent numbers, like 17 minutes, 23 minutes, 32 minutes. But this one was always 10 or 15 minutes apart, except for the one time that I went to Jubilife. So if you're trying to get a space-time dimension to spawn, very simply. 1, it's more efficient in the post-game. Look, we have one spawning right now. All I do is I put my Switch down in handheld mode or docked, doesn't matter. There's a 5-minute timer for the screen to begin to dim. And when it does dim, I hit the minus button and I take a look at the map. I do a quick little scan down there. I do a quick little scan up there. It's not showing up. This one, if it was the 5 minutes, I would look around, I'd move the cursor because it highlights over where you are and say, oh great, there's a space-time dimension. I just go there. Now, you don't have 3 Nintendo Switches playing Pokémon Legends Arceus in the post-game, but for me, oh look, it already spawned in. So apparently when I was on that full screen and I was talking to you, it wasn't, I didn't see the notification that it was going to be spawning in. Some more interesting findings. As I mentioned before, you have the rare spawns, like this Cranidos over here. There's only 3 rare spawn attempts done in every time space distortion. And for some reason, I've noticed if you're showing up toward the tail end of a space-time distortion, there's significantly less chance than the 3 Pokemon are going to be spawning in. Like this Shieldon over here. Instead, you're only going to be getting what I call the bouncers, you know, the 2 to 3, the 1 to 3 Pokemon that constantly spawn over and over and over again. That can be quite annoying, and in my mind, they're protecting the 3 rare spawns. So far I've only found 2. Every time you're in one of these, you want to be running around, you want to be getting all the items on the ground, because getting all the items is going to make sure that you see the location that all 3 of these rare spawns are going to be showing up. After you get all 3 rare spawns, if you're not interested at all, if you have nothing else to do, if you grabbed all the items, if you're in an area like this, that means that you checked areas of higher altitude. There's only a King's Leaf up here. And now that I've gone around and I've seen everything that I wanted to see, ooh, Alpha Magmar. I don't think I need Alpha Magmar, but you know what? Let's catch it anyways because Alpha Pokemon are monies. The only time I really recommend throwing out a Pokemon is going to be if there's something that you see that you absolutely want that you cannot let it despawn, like a shiny, or if you're coming across an alpha you really need. Like when I was playing pre-launch, I found a level 80 alpha Decidueye. hiding in here. We should be good. I'm even gonna pop a stealth spray. No one's gonna see me. I'm gonna recover my health. Now, hear that sound? I call that the airplane takeoff sound because I live next to an airport, because I'm in New Jersey and everyone lives next to an airport. That means that you're about 10 seconds away from it despawning. When you're in that time, get a Pokemon ready. Because following the time that all the bouncer Pokemon are gonna be spawning in and out, you wanna have this ready because there's a chance that you only have maybe a second, maybe half a second for those Pokemon. That actually happened to me with a shiny Rhyperior. This is what I'm gonna be talking about. So when you start to hear the sound, right now, then I prep the Pokemon. And because I was already on that screen and ready to go, I had who'd I throw out? Electivire ready to go for this Rhyperior. And if it wasn't for that, I may have missed it, because it may have aggroed me, and then I could have been fighting all three of the Pokemon at the same time, and it could have been a whole bunch of trouble. I also came across one of the rarest spawns, which is an Alpha Porygon Z. Again, I was in the middle of testing, so I was super committed, and I didn't want to throw a Pokemon in a battle, right there. Yep. I just went at it hard with sticky globs. That, and also, that's a real ominous alpha sound, man. I'm telling you. And now it starts running away. I'm like, nope, can't lose it. And then I got it, and then Ultra Ball to the back. And I knew that if that Ultra Ball didn't catch, I would have probably lost it. Moral of the story, do nothing. Get Space-Time Distortions. So now I'm just gonna go back to my journey to get all three of the starter Pokemon in their alpha forms. Now that I've done this testing, and now that I know that I shouldn't go back to town, I shouldn't be sleeping. Instead, we just wait. Just wait. All right, guys, well, there you go. There's gonna be some pro tips on Space-Time Distortions and getting them to spawn in Pokémon Legends Arceus. Be sure to hit the subscribe button for more Pokémon Legends Arceus videos coming up in the future. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you found this one helpful. Until next time, Austin John out.